5:15 on Tuesday, February 13th, 2018, and the Carroll City Council meeting is now in session. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Please note Councilman Haley and Councilman Fleshner are absent for now. I think Fleshner will be here later. Our first item is the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the January 22nd, 29th, and February 1st and February 5th meetings. Approval of bills and claims. And under licenses and permits, we have a renewal of a Class C liquor license with Sunday sales, Kerps. Renewal of a Class C beer permit, Carroll Can Redemption. Renewal of a Class C beer permit with carry-out wine, which includes native wine and Sunday sales, Dollar General Store number 2756. The renewal of a Class E liquor license with carry-out beer, carry-out wine, includes native wine and Sunday sales, Walmart Supercenter number 1787. Renewal of a Class B liquor license with Sunday sales and outdoor service, Charlie's Steakhouse, Swizzle Stick Lounge, Carrollton Center. We have a new Class C liquor license, 8th month, with outdoor service and Sunday sales, Golf Services LLC. And a new Class C liquor license with brew pub and Sunday sales, Carroll Brewing Company. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda. If there are no questions.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Space?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Are there any oral requests and communications from the audience this evening? If not, we will move to the proclamation for the FFA. This is National FFA Week, which begins February 17th through the 24th. And I'll read the proclamation as, whereas FFA and agricultural education provide a strong foundation for the youth of America and the future of the food, fiber, and natural resources system. And whereas FFA promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success among its members. And whereas agricultural education and FFA ensure a steady supply of young professionals to meet the growing needs in the science, business, and technology of agricultural. And whereas the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, and living to serve, gives direction of purpose to these students who take an active role in succeeding in agricultural education. And whereas FFA promotes citizenship, volunteerism, patriotism, and cooperation. Now therefore, I, Eric P. Jensen, Mayor of the City of Carroll, do hereby proclaim the week of February 17th through the 24th, 2018 as FFA Week in Carroll, Iowa. Thank you for coming this evening. Do they want,
Like to get a picture of it.
should we get there? You guys want to come up and we'll get a picture of the paper?
Great.
Be curious how many members they have.
Right up here.
Be curious how many members they have. I know.
Someone? You?
Bus stops are
Give that to you. You're gonna hop in here today?
I might ask Brody.
Okay, look at me. Smile. Thank you. All right, over here. Smile. All right, one more. Smile. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
That's your question. Hey, Brody, how many members do you have?
We currently have officially 72 members. And
Through the two schools, or you have more than two?
we have members from Carroll High School, Kemper High School, and also our WEBA through
Thanks again for coming up. Appreciate it. We'll move to ordinances, and seeing we have none, our first resolution this evening is the US 30 Grant Road intersection improvements. And Randy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On January 17th, the Department of Transportation accepted bids for the US 30 and Grant Road intersection improvement project. There were 5 bids received. Your memorandum includes all the numbers. The DOT has determined that Dixon Construction Company provided the lowest responsive bid at $1,449,835.78. Of course, the DOT always ensures that the bidders are responsible, so that goes without saying. The lowest responsive bid did exceed the engineer's amended opinion of probable cost of $1,132,958.99, for about a 28% difference. But based on the lowest responsive bid, we've estimated the total project costs for this project at $2,601,030.51. Funding for the project is currently estimated at $2,514,786.86. There's a little bit of difference between the funding and the estimated project cost. We would anticipate working through the project and then adjusting that funding at a later date. The work under the project is estimated to start, or actually carries a late start date of April 2nd with a 115 working day completion time. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend passage and approval of the resolution awarding the contract for the US 30 Grant Road intersection improvements to Dixon Construction Company at their bid price.
Any other questions for Randy? I know this is a project we've been working, trying to get done, and it needs to get done anyway, so. If there are any more questions for Randy, I need a motion to approve the resolution awarding the contract for the US 30 Grant Road intersection improvements to Dixon Construction at their bid price of $1,449,835.78.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Sturts?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Base? Yes. Motion is approved.
Thank you. Let's see here. Our second resolution is the US 30 Grant Road Intersection Improvements Professional Services Agreement, Amendment Number 3, and Randy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the April 14th, 2014 professional services agreement with Snyder and Associates included cost for professional services that could be identified at the time, but also included that there would be services as the project developed that could be quantified as the project developed. And that actually happened so far in 2 instances, May 26th of 2015 and November 27th of 2017. There were amendments to that professional services agreement, whereas the contract for construction has been now awarded. We're looking forward to employing Snyder and Associates for the construction services under this construction project. The funding through the DOT carries with it some pretty high-level inspection services or daily representation services. So we have requested and received from Snyder and Associates amendment number 3 to the contract. That amendment is for those construction services in the amount of $187,400. That brings the total the total professional services agreement with Snyder and Associates to $409,000. I've included for your information again the estimated project costs and funding. They are the same as previously indicated in the award of the contract. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend passage and approval of the resolution approving the amendment number 3 to the Snyder and Associates Professional Services Agreement.
Are we going to see more amendments from them, Randy? Going as the process goes through each vote?
The other amendment, if there were any other amendments, they would be fully dependent on the contractor's progress on the project. If there's something that impedes the progress on the project that would require us to have more daily inspection fees, that's where we could expect more. So at this point, these fees are based on the 115-day construction contract. If it goes longer, there could be other fees.
If it goes longer, would the offset from what they get penalized for going over, would that offset those fees, or?
It would probably be close. There is a liquidated damage clause in the contract, and it would be close to the daily hourly charge of the inspector.
Were they, and under that scope of services, there was task G on this, and it talked about preparation of traffic signal timing. Are they going to do that through the whole Highway 30 or just at that intersection? You know,
This scope is just for this intersection.
that intersection only?
Yes.
Okay.
We have,
All right.
of course, in the proposed budget for next fiscal year,
Right.
there is funding identified for some review, I guess, of the traffic signals, and if that becomes one of the parts of that review, that's where we'd expect it to be funded.
Okay. Any other questions for Randy? If not, I need a motion to approve the resolution for amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement with Snyder and Associates Incorporated for the US 30 Grant Road intersection improvements for professional construction phase services.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Cox?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Fleishner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. The third item is the street resurfacing 2018 professional services agreement. And Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In order to kick off a street resurfacing 2018 project, we've requested and received a proposal from JEO Consulting Group to do the design work on, actually the survey and design. They have cooperated with Simkin Associates and a Pinpoint Surveying up here in Carroll as a joint venture here to provide services for that project. The project includes street resurfacing, typical street resurfacing work that we've done for a number of years on a portion of Bluff Street, East Street, West Street, and then we plan on doing some overlay in the high service pumping station parking lot. That project had been budgeted in the current fiscal year. We didn't want to do it as a standalone project because it was pretty small. And we could not do it in last year's resurfacing project because it was federal aid funded, and we couldn't mix local funding with it. So we placed it, proposed to place it in this next calendar year's street resurfacing project, and that is overlay at the high service pumping station. The scope of services and fees are included in the agreement. The total fee is $84,100 plus hourly construction services. Now, we plan on our city personnel doing the project representation on this project. Any hourly services that we would expect from this contract would be limited to possibly some construction survey and then any consultation that we would have to have with the consultant. We do have funded for this project $700,000 in the capital improvement program, and then we expect to expend about $40,000 in addition to that on that high service pump station parking lot. And this project happens to carry with it quite a few pedestrian curb ramps. In fact, there's about 73 of them estimated, and that is a lot. So there will probably be a recommendation as it comes to time to expend that sidewalk transition funding in this project. Now, actually, we're in priority 4 of that transition plan, and that is the all other sidewalks, or all other ped ramps is what it's called, and that would include ones like these. So to place them into a larger project and then expend the funding with that larger project will probably be recommended at that time.
Do you have all those ped ramps in stock already?
The detectable warning
Yeah, the
plates,
detectable
no.
warning, no.
We don't have that many in stock
Okay.
right now. But we will by the time the project's ready to go.
Just so they're the right ones this time. Poor.
Yeah, and then, of course, for your information, priority 3 of that transition plan is the Central Business District ped ramps. And we have to redo several of those that were done in the streetscape project because the criteria for ped ramps has changed since the beginning of the streetscape projects. So those are planned to be included in your streetscape phase 9 next construction season. The time frame on this project is beginning development immediately and going to bidding about in early June is when we can get that prepared. And we plan on completion during this next calendar year. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend passage and approval of the resolution approving the agreement with JEO Consulting Group for the professional services for the street resurfacing 2018 project.
If there's new sewer pipe, when I was reading through this, I couldn't quite, if there's new sewer pipe, does that include this too? If there's new sewer pipe needed?
In our discussion in preparation of this proposal, we anticipated limited storm sewer.
Okay.
And that would, in my definition to them, would be maybe inlets and cross pipe and something like that. Any substantial lateral running storm sewer pipe would be extra. And we don't anticipate that in this project. There's a couple of locations we may have to replace some pipe to go across the road, but that's what we believe it'll be limited to.
We haven't had much problems with flooding along this spot, like on 3rd Street and such.
No, this, well, we have the north part of it from 17th to 18th, that had been storm sewered in an earlier project.
Okay.
So that low point drains okay. And then, of course, almost everything else, well, actually everything else south of 13th Street flows downhill, so it's not really going to
Not matter.
do any damage by flooding to properties.
This all road use tax fund?
This money is not, no. Actually, in that 700,000, 500,000 is local option sales tax, 100,000 is road use, and 100,000 is stormwater utility. That's the makeup of the funding at this point.
So if you need additional funding, what categories are going to come out of?
That would probably be determined at the time. Road use is obviously one alternative. If there is more storm sewer than $100,000 worth, stormwater utility is another source, and as is probably local option sales tax. Yeah, that's all up to you. Those are certainly sources that are available.
Any other questions for Randy? If not, I need a motion to approve the agreement with JEO Consulting Group Incorporated for professional services for the street resurfacing 2018 project.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Dirks?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Bates?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Our fourth item is the West Street resurfacing STBG funding application. And Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. An application for federal funding under the Surface Transportation Block Grant Program has been prepared. This application is for West Street from 7th Street to 18th Street. And the improvements include our normal customary street resurfacing projects. The West Street has been recommended based on its pavement condition index and then a field review compared to the other federal aid eligible routes. The applications for this funding were due February 9th. An application was submitted unsigned, and the understanding is that it can be withdrawn if not approved tonight. The estimated cost of the project is $875,000 with $600,000 requested in federal aid. It is for the year 2020, and the capital improvements program does include a street rehab 2019 project funded, proposed for funding in the amount of $700,000. So if other funding isn't identified, a portion of that could be used for the local portion of this funding application. I have laid out a development schedule, of course, and it's for letting in February of 2020, and then the completion that year. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend that the council pass and approve the resolution committing the local funds, currently estimated at $275,000, and assuring operation and maintenance of the West Street project.
Randy, how long before we hear if, even though this is out in 2019, how long will it take to hear if we are awarded a grant through this?
I believe that those are acted on by July of this.
So we will know in 18. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Randy, with all the sewer construction stuff, is there any tile lines or sump pump lines that come out to the street in that area or not, that could be tied in or?
None that I'm aware of.
After all we're
Pam.
going through, that's good, yeah.
There isn't currently storm sewer all along this project. There are in little parts of it, but not everywhere in it. And there isn't too much particular problem with sump pump drainage there, but we'll certainly make note of it as it's surveyed.
I think after the success of that High Ridge project, that would be, something to consider when we're doing these, because, boy, it sure cleaned up High Ridge.
Yeah, and High Ridge was different. There was an obvious sump pump discharge problem created there. And we'll look on this one and make sure, but there is no obvious problem with sump pump along this stretch of pavement.
Any other questions for Randy? If not, I need a motion to approve the committing of funds for construction and assuring operation and maintenance of West Street servicing project.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Bates?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Our next item is the professional services agreement, Northeast Park Master Plan 2018. And Jack?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. We received 2 proposals for this project, one from Chad Hattery and another one from Snyder and Associates. And I did list the dollar amounts that both firms quoted us for this project. This really entails, excuse me, part of the plan of the Miracle Field, the Miracle Playground equipment. And Mike and I both feel we're going to have these projects, and so much of it is making sure that everything's put at the right height, it's done correctly. Because once you put these things in, you put in sidewalks, you put in parking lots, you want them at the right height. And this is really a project for them to help us with that. So we have money in the budget, $50,000. We're using some of that for this plan. But that'll also go towards the playground equipment, which we hope to bid out in the next 8 to 12 weeks once we get the plan in place. And that'll be the first piece of equipment placed in. And we envisioning that if there's going to be a Miracle Field there, a parking lot, down the road maybe bathrooms, the trail's going to be there, and there's a few other things that we're going to put a committee together and really try to develop this into a plan for, a 10, 20-year plan for that area, really build up that park that maybe is underutilized, and we'll see some more activity, good activity in there, and it'll be exciting. So this is a standard contract you see for most of similar to what Randy provides and for what we provide in the Parks and Rec. Mike and I both reviewed the contract, and we're recommending Chad Hattery. We worked with them on the trails. We worked with them on other projects. Their Grand Park Master Plan. So I'd answer any questions.
We get to see the plans after they're drawn out?
Absolutely. We'll probably run through the Parks and Rec Board first, and then hopefully we might have someone from the council be part of the meetings.
Well, we had that coffee down there, and I know
Yes.
some councilmen were there, and
Yep.
there were some citizens from that neighborhood that were in there, and I think they were all really supportive of this project and would like to see it move forward.
They definitely like this plan and some of the things that we're looking at having in there.
Any other questions for Jack? If not, I need a motion to approve the letter of agreement with Shive Hattery for the Northeast Park Master Plan 2018 for the total lump sum fee of $14,900.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Days?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Dirt?
Yes.
Fleischman? Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our last resolution is the Carroll Park Improvements Project, which includes pickleball courts, lighting at youth sports complex and trails, not to exceed $905,000, general obligation, capital loan notes, and Laura.
Thank you. The fiscal, excuse me, I have a typo. It's a
Oh,
fiscal 19 budget proposal contains debt issuance, not the fiscal 18 budget proposal. Sorry about that. As we work through the budget work sessions with council, we've included a number of items that we've been talking about to do improvements. And we've also, that budget proposal includes a debt issuance for those projects that were named, the pickleball courts, new lighting at the youth sports complex, and trails expansion. So this resolution here is to set a public hearing date. What we plan to do is include this with a debt issuance with the library, city hall remodel projects. If you recall, a referendum was passed back in August of 2017 for that debt issuance, and since a referendum was voted on by the public, a public hearing at this time is not required. But we do need to hold a public hearing for these projects. So that's what here's before you is a resolution to set that public hearing date. It is anticipated that we'll do a one debt issuance for all the projects of the 3 parks project as well as the library city hall. And this will occur in our fiscal 19, so sometime after July of 2018. Based upon our discussion at our last budget work session, The debt is currently being proposed and scheduled to be repaid in an 18-year repayment schedule. The fiscal 19 budget does include an estimate of principal and interest to be repaid and is incorporated into our proposed fiscal 19 tax levy. And in order to include this into our tax levy, even though we haven't officially issued the debt yet, we need to hold a public hearing, pass a resolution that institutes additional proceedings for the park improvement projects, and then finally we'll pass a resolution authorizing the issuance and levying a tax, or what we've also referred to as a pre-levy resolution, so that we can, prior to adopting our fiscal 19 budget. So attached to your memorandum tonight is the first step in this process, is to set that public hearing date for our next council meeting on February 26th. And later on in our council meeting tonight, we'll set the public hearing date for our budget to be at our March 12th council meeting date. Are there any questions about the process or what's being proposed?
I just have a question, not for you, but for Jack. Refresh my memory on the lighting at that pickleball and basketball court that's still there. The lighting will cease to exist in the new plan, or do we have lighting included in this?
I don't think we made a final decision on taking out the lighting. There's not lighting in this project at the pickleball court.
There's no lighting included in it, but we have lights there
We
already.
have lights there. They're not, my understanding, talking with Andy, they are not working, but Scott Parcher, Park Superintendent, and Andy had put some money in the parks budget to put new light fixtures on the top. Keep the poles, you look at sandblasting, powder coating them, painting them. So we do have that, whether we'll get to it this year or if we still want to do that, but.
That's okay, I just don't want it to be lost in the
Yeah.
process.
Sure.
I just wanted to remind you that I was
Yeah.
thinking about the lights that were there.
Yes.
So that's not really, I wanted to get that clarified now, so thank you.
Very good. Any other questions for Laura? If not, I need a motion to, for the resolution setting the public hearing date for February 26, 2018, and directing the city clerk to publish said notice.
So moved?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes?
Cox?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Our reports are next, and the first one is the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget to set the public hearing date that Laura just spoke about. And Laura, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So after our council budget work sessions, there was a slight change to the budget the budget books that were originally presented to you. I passed out at your seats tonight, there were pages that would be updated in your budget book, and then what I did is basically took all those numbers that were in that budget book and compiled it into the memorandum or the report that you have before you tonight. And this is the form or the report that gets submitted to the state to adopt our budget. Basically what we're doing tonight, okay, so the change was, just to refresh your memory, is we had originally proposed to allocate funding from the general fund for construction costs for the monument signage project. That project was decided not to be moved forward at this time, and that general fund money is being reallocated towards the street maintenance garage project. The monument signage project was moved in your CIP to fiscal 2023 with an undetermined funding source at this time. The budget forms that you have before you, I will not go through them page by page, but if you want to take a look at them, I would say your best bet to look at a good summary page is on the top where it says adopted budget summary. It gives you a summary, or gives you where we ended the year for fiscal 2017, our actual activity for fiscal year 2017, a re-estimated information for fiscal 18, and then the budget numbers for fiscal 19. So what this does tonight by setting the public hearing is we are setting the total expenditure amount that's being summarized would be in these pages. That budget summary page will show you the limit, the higher upper limit for all of our expenditure amounts. And it also sets our tax levy, of which we've talked about in our budget work session. That proposed tax levy is $11 and a little over $11.28, which is about a 31-cent decrease. I think if I have my numbers right. It is a decrease from fiscal 18. Are there any specific questions about the budget forms that are presented for you? We are planning to hold the public hearing on March 12th.
Laura, what sheet are you talking about? It says, I'm not seeing it. You're just pointing to it?
It's towards the back of the packet.
Oh, the back, I know what they're talking about.
It says adopted budget summary. It's the third to last page. That's going to be a good summary of the activity for what actually occurred in fiscal 17.
I don't think it's in here. It's not in here.
Oh,
Adopted? Yeah, I've got
In
it.
here. It's not in here.
oh, no, it's
Oh,
not.
no, it's
there.
in the-
Oh, I'm
it's-
sorry.
Never mind.
No, it was not a part of
We're all
that.
digging through this.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
it's
in this new
it's with the,
It's on the, it was in the
I do.
memo, yeah, part of the memo on the agenda that
Yeah,
came out,
yeah.
or that was submitted.
It's in our
So yeah,
packet.
those pages are for your budget book. So the pages that you had sitting on your seat tonight when you came is for your budget book. And then basically that budget book was converted into these pages that get submitted to the state. The very last page of the information of the memo is what will get published in the paper as our notice of our public hearing.
When's that budget due, is the 15th?
March 15th, yes,
You'll have enough time.
yes.
Any other questions for Laura? If not, I need a motion to approve the proposed fiscal year 2018-2019 budget, which includes setting the March 12th, 2018 as the date for the public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 2018-2019 budget, and directs the city clerk to publish said hearing notice.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Dirk?
Yes.
Stace? Howe?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Seaman?
yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final report is the waive purchasing policy number 501, new fitness equipment for the weight room 2018. And Jack.
Thank you, Mayor. This is always exciting, getting new equipment in the fitness room. And we're trading out some of the equipment that's been down there for a little while yet, but there'd be 6 new pieces of equipment. The first 2 are treadmills that are similar to what we have now. There's 4 of them there, 2 down below and 2 upstairs with TVs. The people seem to like those when I go at 5:30 in the morning on a regular basis. Those are the first machines usually grabbed and used. So we know that we could trade out 2 of the older treadmills. It's time to get 2 more of those, probably the ones upstairs, out of circulation and get those replaced with new treadmills. And we'd recommend getting the TVs on them because people really seem to like that, to be able to plug in with their headphones into certain TV channels and watch them rather than what's up on the wall. Still the people lifting weights and doing different things like the TVs there also. So there's a need for both aspects with the TVs on the equipment and then the TVs on the wall. So these are 2 that are similar to what we have now. They're Cybex, and actually the Cybex are going to be going out. So we wanted to try to get these. They've been bought out. So we can still get these. So it'd be recommendation would be the 2 treadmills, and we'll trade out 2. The next group, any questions with the treadmills? Pretty standard, everyone knows what the treadmills are. The next 2 are the Matrix A7 XE Accent. They're very similar ellipticals. We've had a demo for about the last 6 weeks there. People seem to like them. This is always something we want to do. We want to bring in machines, let people try them and get their feedback. The feedback has been more positive. These, on a typical elliptical, your feet go up and down and you swing your arms. This one goes a little bit deeper. It's more like a Stairmaster, but you're not having to do the Stairmaster. So it's kind of in between the elliptical and a Stairmaster. So it's kind of a good machine. We don't have any of these right now. So that would be what the next two pieces of equipment is, with the touchscreens right there, so people can view with the touchscreens there. And then the last two is the true AC 400 ellipticals, similar to what we have now, just get newer models. So that's what we have currently budgeted. The money sources is current rec center general fund, $20,000, and we have money in local ops and sales tax, and we're using $14,000 of that. Going forward after this, there might be 2 or 3 pieces of equipment we need to get. One is a rower, that's like $1,200, so we'll probably just purchase that. That's in our purchasing levels. We'll probably add that machine. And then a couple other pieces of equipment we might bring to you later. But we want to get those out of the hallway, and this will accomplish that, along with 6 pieces of new equipment.
Does that mean everything in there will be new then?
No, we still have a couple treadmills upstairs towards where the TVs are. Those are older treadmills. Few ellipticals upstairs. There's a few pieces yet that are newer, but yeah, they're getting aged. Typically, we want to try to keep equipment 6 to 8 years, because that equipment's used almost every day. For everyone that's down there on a regular basis, those machines are used and used. It's amazing how well they keep and how well they do it. Mackenzie and Andy and Bob do a good job making sure they're on top of the equipment and getting it fixed when needed and doing the proper maintenance throughout the life of the equipment.
So these don't have like maintenance agreements in with them?
They're usually 2-year.
2-year warranty type thing and that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've gone now to a twice a year company out of Omaha. Nova's coming up and just doing quick maintenance, checking the equipment. You know, it's more preventive than anything. They take the machines, clean underneath, clean the equipment, make sure everything's running, what needs to be oiled, what needs to be tweaked. They're doing all that. So we're in the process of having that done twice a year.
Did you say Cybex is going out of business?
That's what I understood.
Are you worried about buying something that they're going out of business?
No, it's been picked up by Life Fitness.
Oh, okay.
Life Fitness, so everything's now the machine's gonna be similar, if not exactly, the same as the Cybex, but it's gonna be called Life Fitness, where these will still have the Cybex name on them because they were built that way. So no, we'll still have the same people servicing that we've had before.
And the
Good
reason,
question though.
and the reason you want to go ahead with this, what am I trying to say, to waive the readings is because Nova is the only fitness company?
They're equipment that we currently have that our members like. They like the Cybex treadmills. They like the True ellipticals. They like that brand. And we try to keep the same brands that people are used to using, they get on and like the same equipment. We're varying. Eventually everyone's going to have to go to the treadmills with TVs. They're just pretty much going to be standard. The ellipticals, there's going to be always slight changes, so people are going to have to adapt slightly. The one nice thing about these two in the middle, so you have your ellipticals, you're swinging your arms. If you're down there, you'll see people that will stand and want to just do the arms and without the feet. That actually burns out the motor. This new machine, in the middle one, forces you can't do it unless you have all feet and arms going. So that'll help with some of that. We've seen, not very much, but there's a few people in that. Apparently, we've been told that burns the motor out when they're doing that. So this forces that to do that. So.
Do we need signs up there that say, please use your feet?
We could, you know, use the elliptical for its full use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maximum cardiac fitness.
Yeah.
So how many will have TVs then when you're down there?
Four.
Four
of
will have,
these, six. new machines.
Okay.
You have 6 treadmills, so you'll probably have 4 yet that don't.
Okay.
And that's fine, because still, some people, they go to that machine, they've used that type for the last 10 years, and that's what they want. They're fine with watching them
What's
on
over
TV.
up on the TV that's in?
Yeah, we've got it now where you can download an app, and that TV number 4, you go to the app, select 4, and you can listen it through your headphones.
Any other questions for Jack? If not, I need a motion to approve the waiving of purchasing policy number 501. To purchase 2 new treadmills, 2 matrix machines, and 2 new ellipticals for the total purchase price of $34,036.27 with the trade-in of current equipment, delivery, and installation.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Cobb?
Yes.
Space?
Yes.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. I trust everyone's read the committee reports. Thank you again to the FFA for coming up tonight. It was nice to see you. Keep up the good work. Any comments from the city council? Well, there's a new one. Comments from the city manager.
We had it last time too,
Oh,
but I
we
don't
did?
have any
Okay.
comments this time.
All right. If not, then we will need to move into our closed session.
Councilman Soloffer. If you want me to. Motion to go into closed session.